So I'll call the December 10th meeting of the Easton Economic Development Council to order. For the governor's guidelines, we are having this meeting remotely, and it is being recorded and televised. So I guess the first item on the agenda is the approval of the November minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, so Stephanie?
Aye.
Dottie?
Aye.
Tim?
Tim, you're muted. You need to unmute. Can you unmute?
I
You
said I
could
abstain,
not-
I wasn't there, so.
Okay.
John?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Dan, yes. So next item on the agenda. So I wasn't able to attend this, but the community forum. Dottie, you want to kind of take the lead and tell us how it went? And
Sure, I was able to be there for part of it, and it was really great. We had some really good participation by local businesses, lots of ideas, and it spun off into a follow-up meeting afterwards, which we just had yesterday, or I don't even know what day. I'm in.
Tuesday.
Okay. And a lot of enthusiasm. One of the things I think when we talk about what can we do to help small businesses, we have all these ideas of great things that we could do with and for small businesses. But then when you talk to them, they're like, that's not what we want or what we need. Or so the consensus really is that we should be trying to work together to do promotional materials about changing the mindset that, these businesses are open, they're operating safely. And even though it's winter, there's ways that we can enjoy it and really get the public to think about, put on a heavy coat and a hat and bring a blanket and go out and have lunch at a local restaurant. So they're going to be working, some of the chamber members and some of the businesses are working on some small video clips that we'll be working on for a promotion. Easton Outside, I think is what we were calling it, Stephanie.
Yep.
So they're very enthusiastic about it, which makes me really excited and happy about it. And I think it's very unique. I think it's something, if they're willing to take their time while they're struggling 24/7 to keep their business going, if they're willing to take that time to work together and not only promote their business, but promote each other's businesses and the general business community in Easton, I think it's really awesome.
yeah, no, that's great. I was talking to a business owner in Easton yesterday, and they're scared they're going to shut down, right? The pandemic's hitting a peak. Amazon, making a click instead of, shopping locally and going to some of these businesses is a real concern. So anything that we can do to, promote folks going out, whether you're shopping for your kid or a kid at heart, going to places like Land of Electronics, taking a look at the toys there, some of these local shops, Paint, Rust, and Pixie Dust. We have so many good businesses that we can support now, and even purchasing gift cards or whatever we can do as a community to help these businesses make it through this terrible time. No, that's great.
Yeah, and I think the key part of this is that the businesses are taking a lead on making it happen. Neil Levine he actually sent around, Dottie, I don't know if you've seen it yet. He put together kind of a little script, what the videos should be like. He has asked businesses and the chamber, Isabel Wilson from the Chamber of Easton Chamber of Commerce are going to do videos, and then he'll compile them into this piece that then people can use through their social media, their Facebook page, their Instagram, etc. So more than relying on us, they're pulling together and they're doing the work, which is really good. And it makes it more organic and it gives them skin in the game too. A follow-up to that is after the first meeting, I think Dottie may have forwarded it to me first, but there is a local rapid recovery program that has been announced by the Department of Housing and Community Development through the, well, actually through the Baker administration. It's being administered through the DHCD. And there is funding available in the form of a technical, I'm sorry, it's not funding, it's a technical assistance grant where they will provide a consultant to work with the community to help put together a plan in response to the impacts of COVID-19 for businesses, and to help the plan would identify projects that would help businesses be able to continue to operate and grow and function. And one of the areas they identified was marketing and promotion. So Dottie, I don't know if you got a chance to sit on the webinar yesterday. I did.
Yeah, I did. I participated in it. And I think the biggest question the community's had is it's a little bit confusing. First of all, the grant just came out a couple of days ago and it's due the 18th. And they're going to make the selections by the end of January, February. And then it has to be completed by June 30th. So it's really, really a fast time frame. And a lot of communities, and I was kind of confused even in the beginning, there's no funding to put the plan in action. So they're going to connect the award recipients with technical assistance experts to support whatever it is they want to do to come up with the plan. I have to think that the state has to be thinking about the next round of funding is to come up with the money for the plan, but they're not committing to that yet. So
Yeah.
I think.
And I'm wondering, Dottie, if what they're waiting for is to see what the plans identify as potential projects, and then figure out how to, whatever money is available, how to kind of structure that to help fund for the fund projects and implementation. I think one of the things that I heard is that, and I just felt based on the work we've already done over these last two meetings, that it put us in a very good position, because they stressed that the community, the business community, has to be involved. They have to be part of it. There has to be outreach. It's not a top-down driven project or program. They want to make sure that there is commitment and buy-in. So we're already well on the way there. With this marketing campaign, if that's what we're going to seek. And that basically, that's what I'm looking at. How do we seek a more detailed plan for rolling out a promotional campaign that goes just beyond the period of COVID, because that's what they're looking for. They want to understand what the impacts are to a community, to the business community of COVID, and they're using it to collect statistical data that they can use. And again, it sounds like they didn't articulate this specifically, but it sounds like they want to use that to help determine what kind of programs are needed and will help people move forward. And then put together a more long-term, long-range plan, because that's one of the things that people like Neil talked about in the first session was, this isn't just COVID. We want to do Easton outside going into the future. You know, this just helps our businesses long-term. And here's a real opportunity to get people used to the idea, especially when they're really amenable to helping small businesses. I mean, I think people want to help the small businesses stay in business and stay in existence, and you get them outdoors now, and then you keep the campaign going and saying, we can do this every year. We can operate outside. You can come, you can order food, you can pick it up, you can take it and go on a picnic with your family, either at Borderland, or you can go to the trustees, the Governor Ames estate. So I'm really positive, that we can apply for this. And I think that we have an idea that we should be able to get assistance on. And what else I heard at the webinar was that this is not a competitive grant application where, the best proposal wins, they will help people refine their proposal and the scope of work. So
And that
I'll be working on that. Again, as Dottie pointed out, it's a real short turnaround.
yeah. That's good to hear the momentum's going though.
But it's also good to hear that they're not just looking at it in terms of fast COVID relief. It's also about the sustainability
Mhm.
and about ways to share information about what's working and, what good ideas are people having. I mean, just looking at Neil and even Isabel, the two of them have been promoting on social media, and the videos hilarious, engaging. If I'm scrolling through and I see there's a video from Neil or Isabel, I do stop and watch it. I don't really watch a lot of videos on social media because I know it's only going to be like a 30-second clip. It's going to be funny. There's going to be some kind of useful information in there. And so to have the two of them leading this is great. The other thing is we've had such a hard time reaching businesses just in general. Even when we've wanted to do events, it's really hard to get them to connect. So to have a good start with a good number of businesses, I can only imagine that when word gets out, other businesses are going to be interested, because we do have a lot of opportunities to help them, whether it's with grants or even Dan through the PACE program at, eventually at some point. There's other, organizations out there that offer small business guidance for free that we can connect them with, like
And
Small Business Strong, Center for Women in Enterprise, SCORE, all kinds of opportunities that we can really help our community businesses.
And that's such a great segue to, communication and getting the word out there and the work that Matt's doing, leading to help us kind of recharge the website. So unless anybody had any other takeaways from that, Tim, John, I know I wasn't able to make it. Would love to move on to that. And Matt, if you're prepared to, kind of go through.
Yeah.
If not, then we can.
No, I have some slides. I don't know if I can share my
Yes, you should be able to share.
screen.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, look at that. There we go.
yeah.
So very, very quick slides. It is not a long presentation, but this is the culmination of some of the work that Christina and I have been doing on the Think Easton website due to, based on a lot of feedback that we've gotten from members of the committee and some brainstorming that the two of us have done about the way the economic development website is laid out and some potential improvements, refinements for the next year. So this is a quick look at a proposed site map. So if you think about this as a very basic view of the navigation of the site, how you click around, right? Each of the pages and their sub pages. This is kind of what we've arrived at based on some of that feedback. So obviously the very top level, the Think Easton is your site homepage. Each of these 4 top level links here would be top level links on the sort of main menu bar of the website. And then underneath each of those are the sort of subcategories. With this one being a sort of potential future edition based on a lot of the conversations we've had on the questionnaire for business owners, potential feedback we would get from them, answers to feature on the website. I think a really big part of this, as Dan mentioned, would be raising awareness of EDC's role in helping out businesses. And so certainly having testimonials from businesses would be a huge boon for us, I think, to feature on the website. But we can focus on these sort of main trees to start with. The why Easton, which we know as kind of live, work, play on the current website, that kind of central question of why you should do business in Easton. Some additional information on the priority development districts, I think, really laying out for people the different areas within the town that we're providing support for and where there is a lot of potential. And then, the general sort of about us, information about the work the committee does, all of our bios and headshots, social media, the contact form, and then Christina, I believe, had mentioned, a future blog, potential blog post or Facebook post, right? Integrating that as well, so that, as Dottie was just saying, for fun interesting, useful stuff on social media, it would be great to surface some of that on our website as well. So under the Why Easton sort of first link, this is where we want to make note of the town of Easton's mission as well as the EDC's mission. We have those three very big categories which are already on the website in terms of living in Easton, working in Easton, and playing in Easton. And so really this would be just expanding those categories, reusing a lot of the material that's already there, because I think we have a lot of great information about the town in terms of residential info. Maybe we can surface some information about potential new residential development. Certainly the new school project, I think, would be a really big thing to mention here as like a huge infrastructure project and benefit, I think, to people living in Easton. Working in Easton, I think we've got a lot of great information about commercial development, and we could cross-link there to the priority development areas. I think that part of the website will do much of the heavy lifting in terms of information for businesses. And then for the play link, I think it would be great to bring in some more visuals, some maps of open space in Easton. Something I've found out as we've been quarantined at home, as I've been running from home more often, is just how many open spaces there are in the town, right? How many amazing, quiet, secluded parks and areas that I can reach from my house. And that has been really nice for me. And not something I'm used to coming from city living. And so I think really giving people a sense of just how much open space there is to enjoy in the town. And that kind of balance, right, of helping to support commercial development in town to maintain this really nice place to live and to play and support these really beautiful open spaces. I think that'll help us kind of drive home the mission of the town and the mission of the work we do with local businesses. And then I think, some sort of Easton by the numbers feature would be a good thing here. Square footage of the town, population. Maybe these are numbers I should know off the top of my head, but that sort of vital statistics, right?
Yeah.
Would
And
be
a lot of that information is already available. So
right.
Yeah, this is
right. Absolutely. I think
Yep.
the great thing I think about a lot of these conversations that we've had is that a lot of that information is already out there. None of this is, or not much of it is net new work, which is great because it means we're really just having to find this information as it exists and pull it together into a central place.
Can I just interrupt 1 second?
Sure.
I think when I'm looking at this, a couple of things that jump out to me that I think we may want to consider adding, because if we're looking at attracting businesses, right? One of the things that's missing is learn. We have access to a local
educational.
Yeah, so we have local college, the workforce is very important. So, we have access to the Workforce Investment Board in Brockton that serves our region. So businesses want to have people that are trained, or can get the training and skills for their type of business. And we do have a lot of great access to that. We actually have 3 colleges in this area. So we have Stonehill, Bridgewater University, Massasoit, and then I don't know if we would say Wheaton College even, we don't usually include them, but
It's not that
certainly-
far off. And Dottie, one of the things when people workforce, Easton has a very highly educated population and workforce, but you also have access to a high degree of potential skilled labor with Brockton right next door, right? John, I know when we've done the tours at your operation that you have some workers that have come from Brockton. And again, the workforce, you've worked with the workforce board, I believe, in the past.
We have, right, and we pull a lot from Taunton and the Fall River, New Bedford area as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then the resource with Southeastern Regional VOTEC.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. I think there's plenty of information to live as its own category here. And that's a really good point. I think it's something to definitely call out.
That's great.
So maybe it's live, work, play, learn.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think like the the number of things we just listed, I think definitely merits its own subcategory. And so thank you for bringing that up, Dottie. I think that's a great idea. Right. Okay, so the priority development districts, this is what we're envisioning as the second sort of main navigation tree. I think this is the part that would take the most work in terms of identifying information and organizing it. So really, I think expanding on the information we have right now on the priority development districts, I think we might only have the Queesit sort of fleshed out on the current website, but really providing people with the information about where this district is located within town, with a map view, with, there's a fly right in my face, accessibility to transportation, so proximity to highways, other forms of mass transit, some information about some of the, and I think we would need to be careful about what we call these, anchor businesses, anchor tenants, right? But like businesses in the area, right? If you think about Queesit, like, does Hilliard's qualify there? Is that a little further afield? Or when you think about McGuire's down at Five Corners, right? These kind of local businesses, locally owned businesses, which have really helped kind of like stake out these areas in town and around which we're starting to see more development. So I think it would be great to list some of the tenants there. Potentially available parcels of real estate for development, that might be a tricky thing. I don't know if we can sort of advertise that stuff, because I think we would have to link to some real estate companies listing. So certainly we would be careful about that. And then I think,
well, and that might be where the site locator tool goes.
Yes.
Again,
yes.
we have to get the real estate and the property owners re-engaged in using that tool.
Yeah, I think that would be this would be a great place for that to live. And ideally, we could drive people there by giving some examples of what the town or EDC has done to support development in the area. Things.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we start with the town, and then certainly the economic development can get some credit, but the town's made significant investments in these development areas,
right,
primarily through the availability of wastewater treatment, but also through the zoning changes that the town has adopted over the past several years. And then, like the Economic Development Council, just by programs like what we now call Easton Outside, and those type of programs, and helping.
Yeah, that would be a great thing to feature.
Yeah.
Potentially pace right down the road. But certainly we want to, after we kind of provide, I think, a little more granular information about where this district is, what's the neighborhood like, for lack of a better word, but certainly like what the town has invested in this area to make it viable for businesses, I think is a huge thing to highlight, because so much work has happened, even just in the 2 years I've been living in Easton, right? So much investment has gone into these 3 different priority development areas that I think we really do want to highlight that.
Matt, will you share this presentation with the council after?
Yes, I'll follow up with a link to the meeting invite from earlier this week, with a link to these slides, and I'll let everybody have comment access as well. And then, a little Excel table potentially, or just a link to the site locator with available real estate, with the name of the parcel, the size, what it's zoned for, the price. If we can get, we might only have these nice renderings for Queesit, but I think visuals, any kind of visuals we can provide in this area, in other areas in the site, right? That kind of visual stuff I think really does help these pages pop in a lot of ways. I think this is the last slide. Yeah, so just, about us, I think there's a lot of info to fit in here, but we can organize it pretty well. We've already got our bios page with contact information and our beautiful headshots, so that'll be an easy inclusion. The contact form with the submission form for people could certainly live here. The business owner questionnaire that we're developing, if we want to organize it here under About Us or have it live as its own navigation call out. I think on the one hand, it's good to have it centralized with all the other sort of contact info, but on the other hand, having it as its own kind of very top level navigation link on the site would go a long way probably to encouraging people to fill it out and submit it if it's just right there, even if we highlight it in a different color, right? If it's, say, red on the navigation bar, because we really do want people to submit their feedback to us. This would also be a good place to include potential links to state and local regulations or guidelines. You know, we've talked a lot of the last couple of meetings about our role in organizing and disseminating information about current COVID guidelines to local businesses. You know, there could be a resources section under this heading, or it could be, again, its own section where we do try to centralize some of that information and provide easy access so that businesses don't have to try to find it on their own. And then our potential, if we create our own social media feed, if we want to link to other social media feeds, you know, either we have an EDC feed, which really does just kind of retweet and re-promote links from other Easton businesses, sort of what we've been talking about with Easton Outside, kind of helping to amplify and spread the word. This would be a great place to link to that. And then potential blog down the road, if, you know, that's a bit of an ambitious goal, but certainly something we could organize here under About Us.
I think the resources are really important, and I would like to see that as its own tab, because
Sure.
that's a lot of information. And we'd also want to put our partners on there. It's a great place to link the chambers of commerce.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And on that
And,
note, well, if
right
you
now,
want-
that's kind of how it's set up on the left navigation bar of the Economic Development Council homepage. We have links, and one is, I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but other resources or link to other resources. And when you open it up, it is a page that has multiple links there. And I did just add the Old Colony Planning Council business resource link. Dottie.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So I think resources is a great fourth top level navigation link, and then, you know, potential fifth for the business questionnaire when it's ready, or the, you know, submit a questionnaire could even be just a link on the homepage. It could be something you see when you first load into the site. So really trying to organize this to provide information for local businesses in terms of where we're doing the work, the research to provide this info on available parcels, on parts of the town, on resources, and also trying to drive that engagement with a potential social media feed, this questionnaire submission form. I think, you know, those are our two goals here with this potential redesign.
So Matt, based off the feedback from the group for next steps to keep this moving, is it worth, you're gonna circulate this, we can add comments, but is it worth getting a small working group pulled together to kind of brainstorm and you know, peel some of this back leading up to the next meeting? I know obviously with the holidays and whatnot, but what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Dan. I think, you know, if we set a deadline for feedback, maybe at the end of next week, and we can resend a proposed site map based on that feedback. And then I think getting a working group together to identify what's the information that we have in hand, and what's the stuff that we need, what's the stuff that we're actually going to need to go out and collect, what's net new, and what's kind of just repurposing and reorganizing. You know, I think the net new stuff will be a lot of information about real estate parcels, about the priority development districts, probably images, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But once we have an idea of what will be a lower lift, because we're really just repurposing great information that we already have, and, you know, what we need to seek out, I think I don't personally think it's unrealistic to have a kind of skeleton of this new structure built out maybe before the next meeting. There might still be plenty of information to still fill in, but I think giving people an actual working visualization will be really helpful. And I am finally sort of like coming out from under the boom of the holiday retail season in terms of I'm off the last 2 weeks of the year, so I actually have a fair amount of time finally to do some of this work and, you know, log into the website editor and maybe start building sort of the skeleton out. And that's the great part with this sort of editing is we can do a lot of wireframing and then kind of fill in information as it comes. So it doesn't need to be all done at once. I think once we get feedback from everybody and we have a structure agreed on, then I think we can start going forward with a working group and saying, what do we have and what do we need?
The only question I have is, why did it take you so long to join our committee?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I only bought a house, well, I guess it's coming up on 3 years ago. So
Well, thank you so much. This is
time
great work.
flies.
Really
Thank
good
you.
work.
This has been a fun project, and I know Christina couldn't make it today, but she's been really, really invaluable in terms of being a sounding board and giving me good feedback on this stuff. So I certainly couldn't have done it without her.
Yeah, yeah. And I just a little shout out to Christina. She did help us with the invitation for
Yes.
the now Easton outside. Yeah, this is really thoughtful and well laid out. I like it, and I can immediately see how we can start pulling things together. I also want to comment on your presentation. So I'm going to be very honest. Part of the reason I want to get a copy of it is because it's laid out in such an interesting way. I'm going to improve my PowerPoint presentations going forward.
Thank you. Well, I've had to make a lot of slide decks for my job recently for presenting results. And I have certainly found that, the more visuals you can incorporate, the better, because especially on Zoom, we're all looking at a lot of text all the time.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Well, these results look awesome, Matt. So thank you and the team. This is great. Great step forward.
Thank you. Yeah, and I will follow up with a link to these slides with edit access for everybody, and a call for potential feedback by the end of next week.
And Matt, then from that point, as we move to between now and the next meeting, if you have questions or want to start going over like where some of this information resides, you and I can get together and we can talk about that.
Yeah, I think that'll be huge for sure to get a handle on what we actually have. So I will certainly have, I think, a little more time next week. And I mean, I know the week after that's Christmas, but starting to list out, here's potentially all the information we would need to get this site running, and then sort of even just going down the list and saying, we have it, we don't have it, we have it, right. That'll be really helpful too.
Yeah. And some of the, when I look at this, I think it's all really important. I think it looks good. I think the focus on, I think about what are the priorities for getting information out there. I think the Easton by the numbers, so that people understand who we are, what we're near, what amenities and services and value we provide to new businesses. And then also focusing on the target development areas and getting information out about those, because I think that's a really critical piece to helping those areas actually attract new investors and new private investment.
We have all that Easton by the number stuff in that brochure that we did a couple of years
We
ago.
do, yes, yes.
The rate and the median value and stuff. So
Yep.
I can send that off to you.
Great.
Hey, Tim, John, anything to add from your perspective? Tim, your role on the zoning board of appeals and in business in general, and John as well.
Well, I'll just say I think he's done a great job. It looks great. I think we have to be real careful with the because what he's got is a nice lean, very sharp looking presentation. And if we keep adding too many things, I worried it'll become cluttered like the other one and then become yet less user friendly. But so far it looks really good. I guess maybe a link to the overall permitting aspect, maybe in the work area might be something to put on there.
Sure.
But there's a lot of cross-referencing going on, so I don't even know if that's going to be necessary. And other than that, it looks really great. Great job.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think being mindful of keeping it simple is a really good thing to keep in mind too, because it's I think a natural impulse to add absolutely everything anybody could need to a website, but then all of a sudden you've made the website unusable again.
Mr. Holbrook.
Oh, I think I'm all set. It looks great. Nothing's coming to mind right at the moment.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, no, thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
So moving on, the PACE piece, Steph, any updates there? I know we've.
So The meeting with the mass development folks, it'll be Jay Patikas and Wendy, is scheduled for 12/22.
Okay,
So we'll be meeting with them to talk about and go through. I did talk with Wendy again a little bit more. You know, she was receptive and thought that maybe, you know, the fact that we are already doing betterments and there's a SRF program for the sewer revolving fund, where we make small loans or have made small loans in the past to people looking to upgrade their septic systems. And it sounded to her like it would operate in a similar manner. So that the meeting with Jay and Wendy will allow us to ask questions and get those resolved, and then we'll see where we go from there.
okay. Is it a fair goal to say we'll have a staff recommendation for the next EDC meeting? Because my only sensitivity is this has taken up, you know, an agenda item for a while, so.
Well, right. And I you know, people have had busy schedules, and I think we just want to make sure we do it right and move forward. So I think we can come back and have something that then the Economic Development Council could probably put a recommendation together to the select board.
Any other questions on PACE?
I have one. Did we heard anything back from the assessor's office about this? The tax office about increased workload or no work, you know, not a,
Well, that would be Wendy Nightingale.
Oh,
That
okay.
I taught, she is the finance director, and she will be part of the meeting with Mass Development. It will be me, Connor, Wendy, and then Jay and Wendy O'Malley from Mass Development. So we'll have two Wendy's in the meeting.
okay, and the town council will be there too, or no?
And
No.
I don't think at this point
Okay, I mean, I just, you know, I didn't want to drag
Yeah.
this out from July, so I mean, I did have my objections, but okay, that sounds good. I don't have anything on this.
Nice. So we had some recent community events. I know the Kinfolk ribbon cutting. I wasn't able to make that, but I made it that night and grabbed a bunch of food, and it was absolutely delicious. So that place is unbelievable. I don't know if you guys have been there yet or if you were able to attend, but strongly suggest if you want to get it.
We stopped by on Sunday for, I guess it was a late lunch, because we were like, well, we don't want them to sell out. And it was really, really good. And I was really impressed with how they've laid out. It's the first time, I guess, because it's a new store that's open during COVID, just no tables,
Yeah.
you know, all big waiting lines and plenty of room to stand and wait, which I thought was really smart.
Yeah, but plenty of rooms to add tables when the time
Yeah, for
is,
sure.
is right
Mm.
again.
It's such a great story too, because this business started, he was operating in a parking lot on 44, and the line would be endless. It's like that Seinfeld episode with the soup Nazi, except you got Kinfolk Barbecue, and he's grown that business to, you know, have his location, I think, in Taunton, and now his first remote location is here in Easton. So it's a great story, and hopefully that success keeps going. But if you guys haven't been there yet and you have any bit of like for barbecue food, it's awesome. We grabbed the ribs, the slaw, a bunch of chicken. It was awesome. So
Andy's a super nice guy. And, you know, when we were talking with him, he really just talks so much about his staff and his family and the community, and, you know, how personally important it is for him to belong and to offer these great services to the community. So you're right, Dan, it's a real success story.
yeah, Easton, one of Easton's newest gems. So hopefully they succeed, and everybody can get out there to grab some food or some gift cards if they sell them, and, you know, some of the other restaurants and businesses here. How about the Green Friday promotion for local farms and nurseries?
Well, and what we've been doing is just listing things that we've been putting out on the out through social media, so people are aware of them. And this was just promoting the local farms and nurseries during this season, and especially again in light of COVID. So, you know, people like Langwater and Flynn Farms, they always sell trees and wreaths and decorative items during the holiday season. So it was really to try to remind people to support your local entities at this, during this difficult time.
Yeah. Anybody shop small on Shop Small Saturday? Do you guys
I
get
shop
out?
small all the time.
Nice.
I do as much as I can in that department. I'm
Yeah.
from the old school. I like to walk in and actually look at something before I buy it. So
Yeah.
it's the way I do it.
Yeah, I've gotten a few gifts at Bliss, which is right downtown, right around the corner. Simpson Spring too has had some really, really good stuff. I think I'm on their newsletter, and they.
Where's Bliss?
Oh, it's right downtown. It's right next to La Cucina. So.
Oh, is that
I-
that's not,
little
is that
boutique.
the boutique?
Yeah.
Yeah. boutique.
Yes, so they've had a lot of. I got a few gifts from my sister there, who is a year younger than me, but lives in New York.
Very
Yeah,
lucky system.
Yeah, it's a very sort of like upscale boutique, but it's definitely a good slice of product that I think previously has been tough to find around here. At least, seems like a store that would be just as home on Newberry Street.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
Yeah, went there with Jen the other day, and it was they've got that 50% off shelf, and the prices were decent across the board, but got some pretty decent deals there as well. So anybody that's watching, the millions that are watching at home, please continue to shop local and get out as much as you can. Maybe we can do an economic development shop and crawl or something over the next couple of weeks and
Sure, yeah.
together.
And tag it on social media. There's a hashtag shop local, shop Easton, and a hashtag dine local, dine Easton. So if you go to these places and you like them, tag them on social media so other people will see them.
Yeah. We can't emphasize it enough. Anybody that's watching, these businesses are struggling. We need to keep them. So if we can buy gift cards or, avoid the Amazons and, some of the big boxes and, go to Fernandez instead of the Lowe's, just not to disgruntle Lowe's, but, we've got some good local companies that we can all go to and, help them move along. So happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks, Dan. Good to see everyone.
Good seeing everyone. Thanks.
See everybody.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah starts tonight. If anybody watching like me tonight is the first night.
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Happy Hanukkah.
Are you looking for a motion to adjourn yet, Dan?
I would say so.
So
I'll make
moved.
that motion. Oh, I'll second then.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Stephanie, I.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
With aye. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you.
Happy
Holidays.
holidays. I will
Bye.
follow up
Take
with
care.
that presentation. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.